Hi and welcome to Meet the Professionals. This is a series where I sit down with people from various industries to find out a bit more about what they do and how they got into the job role they're in now. Today I'm with Tony Forder, aka my dad. Hi Dad, thank you for agreeing to chat with me today. Could we start off just by saying, your current job title and a bit about what you do?
Job title is actually Senior Site Manager on a construction site. So I manage the day-to-day runnings of a construction site.
Okay.
Currently up in Slough.
Okay, cool. And is that something, have you always been a site manager or have you had sort of different jobs along the way?
I started out as a carpenter, apprenticeship as a carpenter, fully qualified. It was City and Guilds all those years ago as the NVQ these days. Progressed sort of vocationally through the ranks, as it were, to site foreman, working foreman, manager, senior site manager, to get where I am now. You can have the academic route to being in the same position as I am if you choose to go that way rather than the vocational route.
Okay. What does an average day consist of for you? Sort of get up and go to work. What kind of things are you doing?
Well, if I use my current site as an example, I'm currently building a factory unit up in Slough. So my day involves the organisation of all the different various trades on site. So the ground workers, the concrete guys, the guys putting the metal sheeting, plumbers, the electricians. I have to be involved in programming those guys to come in the correct sequence so that they're all attend site at the right time, one after the other and so on. I also have to look after the health and safety. Health and safety on site is my responsibility, to make sure the guys are all doing the correct things at the correct times. There's quite a lot of paperwork involved in method statements and so on, and risk assessments involved in all of that. I also have to do the ordering of materials, measuring up and ordering materials for various parts of the job, and just day-to-day timesheets and so on, logging of weather even and what goes on during the day.
Yeah, okay. What's your working environment like? You say obviously you're working on a site, but where do you sort of sit within that?
Usually we end up with some temporary site accommodation, which is site offices, these cabins, old shipping containers that have been converted into so we have a site where I have my own office, which is stacked on top of a canteen and come changing room down below, and we have a toilet block, which is we're all temporary. We have plumbing and so on, so I have my own office in there, which is equipped with printers and laptops and so on. So that's where I sit and work for most of my day.
Okay. What's the most exciting project or sort of building you ever worked on at your current job or just throughout your sort of construction career?
I've done many things in regards to factory units, schools, churches, and private dwellings. I think probably purely looking at them enviously is some of the very rich people that we've worked for in building new houses which included swimming pools and cellars with cinemas in and so on. So that's probably the one that gives you the most pride when you're building somebody's home as well. It's nice to have to give somebody a new home, and it's not just a building. I'm doing it. It's just a building.
What sort of skills would you say are needed to work in construction generally, I guess, but also in your specific role, and personal skills and both sort of practical skills? What do you think, people should really have on their resume kind of thing?
You definitely, to get to the site manager stage, definitely need to be self-motivated in as much as I am the boss of my site. So there's nobody above me to say to me, you need to do this, you need to do that, and you need to do this. It's my phone gone off. There's nobody, so I have to be self-motivated and proactive in making sure that I do things, because I'm the one that has to direct others. So if I don't tell myself to do things or organise myself to do that, then it doesn't get done, and then that means other people can't do what they need to be doing. I mean, trades on site, obviously, you learn those skills through obviously apprenticeships and so on, and vocational qualifications. It's an NVQ to certain levels with carpentry and bricklaying and plumbing and so on. So the skills are learnt there. Yeah, a little bit of a passion for wanting to be a tradesman rather than pushing a pen or being out, but it has its advantages, being outside in the sun.
Yeah. So what would you say is your favourite aspect of your job? What do you enjoy the most?
I think exactly that. I mean, get to my position and I am the boss of my day. I get to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I do have line managers and so on, that I don't work with them directly face to face all day, every day. We have meetings via Teams these days, but yeah. So yeah, I am in control and I can choose the way I want to do things and so on. And I think I like to be in control in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. What do you find most challenging about your job, or sort of the bit that you're not so keen on?
It can be very much all or nothing. Sometimes I'm so busy, there's just not enough hours in the day because lots of people come to site, for instance, all together, and I've got to do new inductions and do the work forms and fill out the safety stuff, and there can be, suddenly there's a rush and I'm doing lots of stuff and I don't actually have enough time to do everything, and I get to the end of the day and I haven't completed my work, and then the next day I can finish off that work and then very little to do because everyone's set what they're supposed to do, what I've asked them to do, and then I find myself I've got a quiet period. So yes, it can be very much peaks and troughs in your workload.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What would you say is your biggest achievement, or what are you most proud of in your line of work?
Biggest achievement, I don't know. I suppose I think one of the most I'm most proud of was a job I did quite a long time ago that you will remember, Kirsty. There was a house that had burnt down, and it was a family home, and they'd had quite a considerable fire, and we had the project to rebuild this home and so rebuild this house, but also give them their home back. And I think a sense of satisfaction at the end of the day or end of the job. That was one that I really did enjoy because the family was so pleased to get their house back.
Yeah.
That gave me a lot of job satisfaction.
Yeah, because you're sort of, like you say, you're creating a home or a school or a space for people to eventually enjoy, and you obviously take great pride in that, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Where do you see as sort of the construction industry in sort of 5 to 10 years' time? I've asked this question to other people because, you know, lots of industries will be affected by new technologies, AI and things like that. How do you see the construction industry changing, if at all?
The construction industry will always, to some extent, be a hands-on thing because it has to be. You can't have robots laying bricks, and you can't have robots putting metal roof sheets on a factory unit or whatever, or concreting, or you know, putting light bulbs in and wiring and so on. So yeah, it has to be a hands-on thing.
Yeah.
So that element of it will never go away. My job over the years has changed when you're talking about technology, because now the tool of my work every day is the laptop. In the main, I sit there far more than I ever used to 20 years ago, when it was just a mobile phone and a diary and a notepad. Now it's a laptop. So in that sense, technology has increased things. And the tradesmen themselves, the equipment they use is far more technically advanced these days, and that enables them to do the job more accurately and quicker. But they still have to be there, and they still have to use that advanced equipment.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for you, Dad. What advice would you give for someone who is maybe starting out in carpentry, doing their, you know, diploma now at college or something like that, and possibly following the same route you have, or, you know, just in that industry? What advice would you give them?
Difficult one. It's a very job. Job satisfaction is quite a lot in what you do. Even just putting a door on, to use my carpentry, hanging a door number, or making a kitchen unit or something, it gives you a great sense of satisfaction because you've actually produced something that's physical, that's there in front of you. So whether it's just one thing like putting a door on, or installing somebody's life, or whether it's building a factory unit or a house or whatever, like you say, you've got something that's lasting, and it does give you a great sense of satisfaction. And so it's something to go over, and it's not an industry that should be looked down upon just because you're using your hands. Many people tend to have that sort of thing, that it's not an academic thing, therefore it's lesser.
Yeah.
Not that you earn quite a good salary, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a carpenter, or whether you're a site manager. You know, there's a good living to be earned in construction. Sometimes you have to work out in the cold and rain, and sometimes you get to work out in the sunshine. So yeah, that's plus and minuses, but you totally live.
Yeah, it's always kind of stuck with me. I remember you saying years ago, I think it was an old head teacher of mine sort of said about going an academic route rather than working with your hands, and you sort of sat there like this, and that's always really stuck with me, because there's just so many different routes and industries, and you need every part of the chain, don't you, to get for the computer boffins to do their job. So it is an integral part.
And a construction site is formed of me and, you know, the sort of at the top of the tree actually on site, down to the labourer who opens the gate in the morning and cleans the toilets. But without any of the components, none of us would be able to work. So that labourer who sweeps up and cleans the toilets is just as important, because without him, the carpenter wouldn't be able to use the facilities to be able to do his job, and the driver and so on. So they're all pieces of a jigsaw that add together to make it work. So yeah, they're all just as important as one another.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you for chatting today, Dad. That was really nice. I always love hearing about your job, and I'm sure everyone else does too. If you have any questions about carpentry, getting into the industry, or actually progressing to the same level as my dad, just leave us a comment and we'll get back to you. Right. Thank you for watching.